And she's probably just going to keep it there until she decides to sell it. So the package that Lily was going to pay for did not arrive.
What was she sending up to? We mean the who versus the what. Yes, they are here. And you'll probably meet them at the tavern.
Okay, so maybe we should go to the tavern first before we split up.
All right. So yeah, so we can just say you go to the tavern first, and going into the tavern, I don't think I threw a thing out onto the tavern yet. Yes, I know. Let's go over here. I don't have this set up properly yet. That'll work. That'll work. So bring all of them in there. That's gone. Move you all over to here. Yes, it's my demon.
Those tieflings. All right.
Yeah, so those tieflings have been there this entire time, and it sounds like they're gossiping, to be honest.
Is Cassidy still?
Yeah, Cassie is actually going to be there.
Okay.
Yeah, she's at this point, as all the activity's gone on, she's coming to the tavern herself, and she's getting drinks. We need to go here, because I did not actually do this. Come on, internet. There we go. You were... I did not make you into a token. What the hell? All right.
Difficulties. Well,
I'm going to ignore that for now.
Lily's going to go up to Garrett and get a drink from him while
And
you
she goes,
tokenate.
yeah, and she's going to go up and talk to Garrett for a while, and Garrett just kind of seems mildly amused, as he usually does. Could you send me the link again, Jeeps? Because I don't think I have it.
Boy.
Yeah, I'm putting a lot of work on you. And he looks amused, as he usually does, and he just kind of crosses his arms as he's still on the counter, as always. And the bartender goes up, gets a drink for him, and he just kind of nods. He's like, so I see you found a new wench to bring back to my tavern.
The problem is I want to make sure I get the right one.
Just send me a bunch of links and I'll find it.
Uh,
I might have it actually on my
I think it's
thing.
this one. Here we are.
Yeah, that'd be it.
Okay. Sorry. All right. So Lily
He
says,
found a new wench to bring back to his tavern.
Is she here now?
Yeah, she's upstairs. I gave her one of the side rooms. I understand that you'll be paying for it.
Maybe I should go over that contract a little closer.
She said it's part of her payment.
Okay. Then yes.
And he just kind of smiles and nods. So, now that's been sorted out, how about the rest of you? You like some food? Some drink?
Everyone else is dead.
Everyone else is dead, I know.
Where are they?
Da 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 da.
Alright.
Elana, you want some beer?
No.
You're now old enough to drink.
Actually, probably still not.
So you guys gotta
Just
pull
rub
that
that
painting out
picture
of
a little
the
bit and
bag
you'll be
of
old
holding,
enough.
try giving it to Garrett?
No.
Aww.
Alana doesn't want to go near that thing.
We'll have Lily do it.
Lily could show it to Garrett and see if he wants to buy it.
Alright, so are you gonna pull it out and try to show it to Garrett to buy it?
She's just going to open up the bag so he can see it. But not
And
pull it out.
Yeah, he looks inside the bag. Oh no, that's an interesting painting. Why don't you take it out so I can get a better look at it?
Lily says, why don't you take it out?
And he kind of rolls his eyes. This isn't some kind of trick, is it?
Lily says, why don't you take it out? Can she persuade him?
She can persuade him.
Oh God!
She's gonna do a Jedi mind trick on him.
And he kind of just nods up for a moment. It's like, yeah, alright, fine. But I'm paying less for it, then. And he jumps off the counter for a second, climbs back up a few moments later with a pair of gloves on, and he reaches into the bag of holding, and he grabs out the painting, and he just kind of sets it against the back of the counter there, and he looks at it. This is an interesting painting. Haven't seen anything like this.
Lily says,
Well,
It's a magic painting.
Is it now?
Mm-hmm.
How's it magic?
Well, if you look at my friend Elana here...
Ah, yes, I thought we last went through a ghost, but did something happen?
The painting happened.
Hey,
I
and he
can
turns over and
guarantee you that this painting will make you look more beautiful every time you touch it.
he kind of nods at her, like, is that so? And he takes off his gloves, he looks at the painting for a few moments, and then he yells into the kitchen, Oi! Hey lass, why don't you come out here and try touching this painting? And after a few moments, probably a middle-aged woman comes out, goes over to the painting, he's like, this painting? And he kind of nods. Shaking her head, she reaches forward and touches it, and she holds her hand there for a few seconds before jumping back. And at this point, she looks probably another 4 years older. It's hard to tell what her age was exactly, but the figure in the painting looks a lot younger.
Okay, either her or the painting will look better. I'm guessing. We haven't really tested this out yet.
I can see that, miss. I do apologize about that, ma'am. Perhaps you could, I'll pay you an extra gold a day. And the woman just kind of seems a little... She's still freaked out dastardly, and the bartender kind of leads her back to the back, and Garrett's kind of just rubbing his hair. That could have gone better. I'm sure we could find a use for this painting.
How much? Lily says.
Oh, well, considering you didn't tell me what it did, and you made me get it out myself, 50 gold.
Lily shakes her head. Nope, this is a magic painting. I can sell
True.
this in Northbridge for 5 times that amount.
I doubt that highly. 100
I can
gold.
sell that in Haven for 10 times the amount then.
You're really bad at haggling, miss, aren't you?
Let's call it 150 and it'll be even.
Anything's on it for a few moments. 110.
Lily says, okay, I did make you take it out, and we may have cut that woman's life short a little bit, so I guess 110 is fair.
And he takes the painting from you, puts it in the back room, hands you the small pile of 110 gold pieces, and just starts to think on ways that he can use this. You may regret giving him this painting.
This is not going to end well.
You may regret giving him this painting. All right.
I got 110 gold. I ain't regretting nothing.
And then he tapes her hand to the painting as Lily ages 100 years.
Lily's one of the few people who could age 100 years and still live.
Yep.
Also,
All right.
good luck passing that strength check. I mean, maybe, but still.
Yeah. All right. And it's around this point, as all this activity is going on, figure comes down from... Come on. Comes down from upstairs. You are way too big. That's a better size. Comes down from upstairs. Figure itself, she looks a little familiar, but not too terribly, at least until she speaks. At which point, everyone here... Actually, only Lily would recognize her voice, I think, because I don't think anyone else has heard her speak.
She did speak once in the tavern, but Lily...
Oh yeah,
heard
she
her
did
most.
speak once at the tavern, so...
I'm back.
Yeah,
Welcome back. Lily just sold the painting
to Garrett.
to Garrett.
That's not going to end badly.
This is why you should never leave ever.
And at this point, Garrett mentioned that Lily had brought someone back. They were working out a deal for that, etc. And the figure just came downstairs. And though you don't recognize her appearance-wise when she speaks, you do recognize her voice as being the same woman who was in the Assassin's Tavern, the maid. She looks completely different, though.
Lily rushes out to her and says, "Oh, you made it! Excellent! Hey, everyone! This is Mara."
And Mara just sort of nods in acknowledgement. Yep. And this fine half-elf has hired me to aid the group.
Lily kind of whispers to her and says, "All right, how much do we agree on?"
5 gold a day.
And let's pay a month at a time. So what is that? 150?
We'll figure it out when the time comes. I
All
may
right.
overcharge you.
All right. Lily Lily nods and says, "Well, welcome to our group."
And she nods again, having met the group in one way or another at this point already. Yes, well, I don't expect to be helping you much in the way of fighting, though if you need anything else, I might be able to take care of that for you.
I did have one question.
Yes?
You remember that they took my parents off of the list for assassins, right?
Yes?
Well, I was told that I don't know how these things work, so I was hoping you could enlighten us.
I believe whoever told you that was correct. Though I cannot simply give the secrets away that easily.
He said that they were put on the list.
Roll persuasion to try to get her to explain.
Okay. See, guys, it's useful for something.
And she kind of just she's thinking, bobbing her head back and forth before she finally nods. That is essentially correct. There have only been 2 people in the entire history of the guild who have ever been removed from the list. But the way it works is you can only have one contract on your head at a time. So what they did is they put a contract out for your parents. However, there is a condition that must be met before it can be fulfilled. I don't know what the condition is. It doesn't affect me. But so long as that stands, there cannot be a contract put out on their head. The Assassin's Guild cannot target them.
And how do I find out what this condition is?
You would have to deal directly with the Guildmaster for that one. I don't know.
Meanwhile, Falana's going to go ahead and investigate that book, which was partially translated.
Yeah, you can do the investigation, but it would take you some time to translate it. Regardless, I think, is there anything more you'd like to do speaking with Mara, or should we go into what you're doing for the next few weeks?
I think that's probably everything that Lily needs to do.
Alright. So, is there anything else anyone wants to take care of right now, or should we go into the next few weeks?
It'll probably go into the next few weeks thing, and what Elana will probably try to do is she took that alchemist's book that is like really horrible scribbles and try to decipher it.
Alright, so let's start off with that. So the first week, Elana is going to be trying to decipher the Alchemist's book.
Yeah.
Alright.
Deciphering the book that we found in the desk,
So
as
you're
well
both-
as investigating the Wayfinder.
Yeah, so you're going to spend your time up between investigating the Waygate and the book you found.
Yeah.
And what's Lily going to be doing?
Lily's going to be splitting her time. The first couple days, she's going to be helping to train the local force to fight better, and then the rest of the time, she's going to split her time between working at the forge, creating weapons and armor, and reading the armor crafting book she got.
Alright, so everyone's going to be doing a lot of reading, it seems.
Yeah.
Surina, I think we agreed, is already just going to be helping out at the church, helping people who are sick, making medicine, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Alright.
Something like that.
So let's start off with Elana. Roll, let me see. I'm going to say that as you spend time trying to read through the scribbles, it's very hard at first to make out what's in this alchemist's book, to make sense of it, heads or tails, but as time goes on, you start to understand the author's handwriting, you get a better feel for what's going on with it. I'm not going to give you any bonuses yet, but I'm going to make a note that you are reading a bit into how alchemy works.
All right.
So you have a better idea how things are going at this point. You might be able to do a few things, but you're not experienced enough with it yet. Falana was going to be reading the encoded Undercommon book she found. And as she knows Undercommon herself, as she works her way through it, she can determine a few things. First of all, what she is reading in Undercommon, it's not any proper ritual. It seems to be disguised as a ritual for the drow, but it's just demons and demon summoning. Whoever made this book seemed to have did a lot of falsehoods into it to make it appear as something else.
The summoning stuff, apparently keep note of it, definitely. I'll even make my own annotations in Sylvan for the purpose of nobody knowing what I'm actually writing.
Yep. All right. So you can make the notes on that. And for the rest of the time, you said you were going to spend some time investigating the Waygate along with Chase. And as the two of you are there, you can see that Chase has been messing around with it in your investigations. And as the week drags on, you eventually seem to find a way where the device triggers again. Its spindly legs all shoot out and they redraw the circle that was scuffed out beforehand, though the legs retract again and it seems to be inactive once more. Nothing else happens in the time you've been researching it.
Scuff it out.
If we could figure out what that circle's going to without scuffing it out, it would. So
All right, and Lily, you were going to spend the first half of your week where you were helping train the soldiers.
Mhm.
That goes on pretty well. You do encounter that dock soldier you met a while ago, the dock guard, and
Do I
he seems to
one-shot
not have
him
the
again?
skill you had. Yeah, no, you one shot. He seems to not have the skill you had. You've easily you've properly surpassed him in skill. I can't say you weren't even beforehand. It's just the fact that a great sword can one-shot anything at level 1. That's pretty much all there is to it. So whoever goes first, whoever gets the first proper hit, greatsword is probably going to kill them. And you go through and you help teach the guards a little bit more. They seem grateful for your aid. As time goes on, you occasionally see the Baron pop his head in, keep an eye on things and how they're going through. And he's been, as you've been in the town for a few days now, you can see that he's been rather active, going around having a personal hand in things, making sure everything goes right. He has not been staying up at his manor for very long periods of time.
Whenever Lily sees him, she's just going to ask him if he's heard anything more from her folks. And I assume she'll get the same answer every time.
She'll get the same answer every time. No, nothing yet. And for the second half of the time, she was going to be spending time in the forge and reading the armor crafting book.
Yep. And making
Alright,
friends with the prisoners.
Yep, and she does that often enough, though. The first time she goes into the forge, she sees in the corner there is the man she met in the center of the park, Arashi, and he is using part of the forge for himself. And as she asks the blacksmith, I've already forgot the blacksmith's name, as she asks him what he's doing here, he makes a note that he's been paying him for use of the forge, that corner of his own over there, and she goes to work on whatever she's working on herself, helping build armor and weapons and etc., whatever this town needs, horseshoes, cutlery, etc. She can see him over there working on a few things of his own, and it appears that he has some sort of unseen servant aiding him as there are items being carried around by some invisible force over to aid him.
Did you explain what race he was? I can't remember. I'm sorry.
Human, I believe.
Human? Okay.
He at the very least appears human.
She's going to have Mara helping her with the same kind of thing of carrying stuff around and so on.
All
as
right.
part of her duties.
All right. At any point, are you going to be trying to do anything with the black sword at this point? Look it over, etc.
No.
All right.
She's going to. She might show it to Mara at some point. How about that? She would show it to Mara and see if Mara knows anything about it because it's a dark sword and it seems like an assassin-y thing.
Where would you think she would show that tomorrow?
Probably in a room.
Probably in her room?
Yeah, away
I do
from
know
the
this.
city.
At one point, Falana would have mentioned, at least on the trip back, that sword is nothing but cursed. There's nothing special about it.
All right.
She
So-
would have lied.
So, what did you say to Lily about it?
It's a cursed sword. There's nothing special about it. Whoever
Cursed
uses it has to be a pure idiot.
Okay. So Lily knows enough not to use it, but she wants to show it to Mara because she thinks that there might be something more to it.
And Mara, as far as she is, when she responds, she doesn't really know much about it. If you probably mentioned the one that you took it was taken from, I don't think Lily wouldn't know that herself.
No, she wouldn't.
Would Mara have been told? I'd expect Mara would know enough about the head of the slaver down there that she'd be able to recognize that it was this man's sword. So she'd probably mention that she knows little about it. It's just a sword that's known to be used by the slaver. So
Lily's
beyond
going to
that,
say
she's
that
not-
the first time Falana used it, she threw it away.
And she stops and thinks on that for a moment and just comments that that's probably wasteful.
Lily says, I agree, that's why I went and found it again. Um, she's she's probably gonna later on go down back to Northbridge and see what she can do with it. But for the time being, she's going to keep it hidden, especially because Falana said that it's cursed. She doesn't want anyone else getting a hold of it and bringing the curse upon themselves. So she's going to try to keep it hidden away from everyone.
Yeah, and that's essentially everything that happened the first week. At some point, as everyone's coming down in the morning to go wherever they wish to go from their rooms in the tavern, they can see Rashi is once more in the tavern. He's talking to Garrett, and he seems to be asking, as you overhear, he's asking about magical items. He's trying to find some himself.
Lily's going to overhear, I'm assuming, and is going to say, "What kind of magical items?"
Oh, and he turns over to see the group. It's like, you came downstairs. I didn't hear that. Pleasure to see you all again. And the group of you knows that he's been staying in a tavern room as well, so he's not a resident of the town. He's just been staying here for a little bit. I've been looking for some sort of weapon, I believe. A sword of some point. Maybe an axe. Just something I'd be able to use well enough. You would happen to know where I could find one, would you? This old halfling doesn't seem to know anything.
Lily's going to say, "Well, I've been looking for a magical weapon that I could use myself, but we haven't really come across anything useful."
Oh, and he kind of shakes his head. It's like, oh, no, I don't really want it to use for myself. I more want to look it over and see if I might be able to make use of it otherwise, as resources or some such. Magical ore seems to be more effective for things I like to do.
Is anyone else going to say anything?
Alana really doesn't have anything she can say. She doesn't use weapons.
Yeah.
But
You're
do
the
know
only
about
one in the party.
you do know about the short sword.
All I know is that it was thrown away. Really.
I think you would have overheard that it's magic and that it's cursed.
And that Lily went swimming in her skivvies to go find it, because that was kind of...
So the guy's just looking for a weapon?
Yeah, and he mentions that he's willing to pay decent money for it, but there seems to be nothing around here, and that's kind of a disappointment to him.
You're looking for the ore, nothing else.
He's looking for the weapon. For a weapon,
to
because he can make
extract the
use of
ore
it.
or something.
Yeah, he can make use of it, and he finds that magical items seem to be better for his uses than normal.
Yes, of course. You're previously enchanted. That's why.
Lily's going to say, "I think you might just be too far north to find anything."
You know, we
Would.
did come across a short sword that could be of use to you if you're just melting it down.
Yes, I have no intention to actually use the blade as is, but I was hoping to practice a trade of mine. Would you happen to have this sword so I can look at it?
Lily's
Can you
going to
tell me
say,
what
"What
the
kind of
trade is?"
trade?"
I'm a smith of sorts. I believe you've actually seen me over at the forge.
Lily nods. "What are you going to do on the sword?"
Give it
Oh,
to him. I want to watch him.
it depends, this and that. Depends on how it works. May I see it?
Lily shakes her head. "I don't have it on me. If you can tell me a little
Go
more
get it.
about what you're planning to do and pay me in advance, maybe I can get it for you."
My dear, why would anyone pay anyone in advance? That is a fool's errand, to be honest.
Go get the sword. I'll make sure he's not going to cheat you out of this. I am actually curious myself on that.
And I would be willing to pay you upon delivery of the sword to myself.
How much?
Oh, 250 gold?
Lily shakes her head. "I could get more from the Assassin's Guild."
And do you really want this item to end up in the hand of assassins? You seem rather protective of it for some reason.
She's trying to lay a curse on them. Nothing more.
Lily
Get the
says,
sword. Let's see what happens.
Lily
it's
says
cursed.
that she still doesn't know who this Arashi person is. Why
mentions
should
that-
she trust him with a magical weapon?
And he seems, it's cursed. Yes, they would probably be the only ones interested in buying it then. Well, my offer does still stand.
Tell me what you're doing with it, and maybe I'll consider.
He's melting it down to make something else. That's what he said multiple times. I'm curious as to how. Go get the sword as a favor for a friend.
She looks back at Arashi.
And at this point, he has a bag of gold in his hand as he's throwing it up gently.
350.
300.
Mara, get my sword.
And Mara nods as she goes back up to Lily's room, and she returns back like a minute later with the sword.
Lily takes the sword and she draws it slowly, half in and out of the sheath, and shows it to him. This sword is cursed.
And
Don't
he leans
use
forward
it on
looking
anyone.
at it. Yeah, he leans forward looking at it. Yes, I can see that it is indeed cursed. Quite
That's the
powerful
only
magic,
property.
though.
Yeah, just ignore it. Give it. Go ahead and give it to him.
Yeah, and
No.
he leans back at this point and he holds out the gold in his empty hand, ready to take the sword.
Falana, can you roll a persuasion for me? I'm gonna roll insight and see what we get. Go ahead and roll persuasion.
What are you trying to do?
I'm trying to decide whether Lily is persuaded by, and Lily is not.
She's not really trying.
Um,
If she really was trying, she'd just use suggestion and be done with it.
Lily says, "Okay, follow me. We'll go to the forge together."
And he shakes his hand, but he nods. It'll take some time, you know. And he follows behind her.
All right, so we're gonna head down to the forge together. Lily is
Let me
holding
put
on
my-
to the sword, and I assume the other guy still has his money with him.
Yeah, he does.
So he still hasn't told her what he's planning to do with it.
Alana's
Yes,
going
he
to-
has. He's told her he tends to use it to...
To
Take-
melt it down and to do quote this and that with it.
True, true. So he looks at her again. Do you intend to actually allow me to do what I wish to do?
I have no problems with you doing what you want to do. I just want to watch, see if it's similar to something else I know.
Lily says,
And-
"Promise me you won't use this to hurt anyone unless they deserve it."
I swear.
Can we insight?
The weapon
You
doesn't
can
hurt
incite him.
people. Hurt people. That's how it works. You should know this.
And as far as you can tell, he is being completely honest.
Lily nods and hands him the sword and pockets the 300 gold.
Yep. All right. And at this point, we'll be going into the second week. I expect Falana wants to stay here and like split her time between watching him work and being down at the work on the Waygate some more.
Yeah, and what she's watching is to see if it's similar work to what she knows previously.
All
Can
right.
Lily at any point make a shovel and dig this thing up?
I'm gonna say yeah. She can actually borrow a shovel and spend a day to do that. But what else would she want to do for the week?
She's gonna keep making weapons and armor for the
All right.
soldiers. She's going to be selling these too. Should I make any sort of crafting check or anything?
Yeah, you can make a crafting check for the week. What's Elana gonna be doing?
She's probably just going to be trying to finish the book.
All right, so Elana is going to be. So as the second week drags on, Elana getting a better understanding for the author's handwriting, be able to make more sense of it. I assume she's making her own little notes and adjustments in much easier to read handwriting. And
She's
by-
going to have like her own separate little like notebook and be writing in there.
Yeah, all right, that'll work perfectly fine. And I'm gonna say at the end of this, I'm gonna give Elana proficiency in alchemist supplies. So
Did,
as you.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so that's going to be a tool for her, alchemist supplies, so she'll be able to use that to try and work with alchemy a bit. So
Did-
long as she has the book on hand.
Did Lily
And
gain
it's-
anything from the book she was reading yet?
I'm going to say she spent a decent amount of time doing it. I'm going to give her proficiency on it as well. Don't expect me to give it out as easily as I have been, but I'm going to say she has some proficiency on it as well.
Okay.
Because she's going to be practicing it more as time goes on, etc. So having proficiency on it, that would boost it up by 2, so she'd be at an 11.
3
instead
at
of
this
9.
point because it's level. Wait,
Yeah, level 5 that goes up,
level
I believe.
5.
Yeah, level 5. it goes
Yeah,
up.
next level.
All right, we're level
Yeah,
4.
just-
Sorry,
So,
I misread the thing.
yeah, so as Lily goes on, she makes her weapons. She'll be able to forge that pretty easily, try to sell them. I'm going to say selling them, she's only going to be able to get probably 90 gold for selling everything that she's made.
Okay.
So it hasn't been the most productive time, but it hasn't been that bad either for the 2 weeks she spent on this. And in the day that Lily had gone over with the shovel and trying to dig up this the Waygate, the little device in the middle of the park, she has completely excavated the entire area around it, and even underneath it. and it just kind of floats in the air at the exact same point it's been at.
And
Kind of
I
just
assume if she whacks it a couple times with a shovel, the same thing happens.
she whacks it a few times, and the shovel comes back and tries to whack her in the face.
Yep.
It does not like being interfered with. All right, so I'm
We
expecting
just have
Falana.
this giant hole in the middle of the park.
I'm expecting Falana would have seen this as well, and at some point the Earth will eventually retreat back to where it was, since it seems it wants to have something to draw on, or at least Chase will move the Earth back at some point.
Yeah, between Chase and Lana, it's getting moved back anyways. In fact, they probably would have stolen the shovel just to get it back easier.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, Lily would have let him have the shovel if they wanted it, so.
Yeah. As for going back in the blacksmith itself, with Falana watching, and I'm sure Lily will have times to sneak over and get glances at the man, Arashi seems to work rather quickly, and he moves quickly. He removes the hilt from the blade, and with the help of this unseen servant carrying supplies around for him and a strange set of hammers, and he brings over like a pair of weird glasses over his eyes, and he just works at this blade, and he just very quickly seems to break it down into various pieces of black metal. Like he takes the blades off, working on it that way. And as the week goes on, he eventually gets some more metal, purchasing it from the blacksmith. And the week drags on, and by the end of the week, you can look at him holding up the finished blade, and it looks to be he's used the center as a new blade. Like the new metal he got is a new blade, and then has the black outlines traced along it as the actual edges of the blade. And this black cursed short sword has been made into a long sword. And he's just kind of smiling happily at his work. He tings aside a few bits, and he reaches his hand up to the edge, and he pokes his finger on the edge. You can see blood dripping off of that. And looking at his other hand, he doesn't see any blood dripping from the other wound that should have appeared.
So Lily could surmise from this that it's no longer cursed?
And yes, she could, because I'd expect she'd be there and she would see this along with Falana as he finished up.
Lily's going to go get her her armor and have him attack her with it so that she can see what it actually does.
And he kind of looks at her, and as she does this, he looks at her with an amused expression on his face. You wants me to stab you.
Let me. I've been wanting to do this for a while.
Lily doesn't really care because she doesn't think, even with a critical hit, that he could bring her down with one hit.
Let me do it. I've been wanting to do this for a while now.
She says,
I
yeah, use
apologize,
me like a practice.
miss. I rather would test the weapon in my own hands first. If you would like, I can give you the sword to try it yourself afterwards. And he goes forward, and he's gonna take a stab at Lily. And he's gonna do probably like 10 damage. I'm not too worried about it right now, since it's not gonna. You're gonna be able to heal up. You're not really in combat or anything. But he takes a stab at Lily, going right through her shoulder. And as he does so, he brings his coat off. He lowers his shirt and everything. He checks his own body. No wounds.
So I'm assuming from this that he can get some sort of sense what the sword's properties are, if any, at this point.
You can also assume he probably stabbed himself at some point after he got his hands on the sword to see what the sword's properties were.
Right. So Lily's going to say, did you learn anything?
Oh, yes. I learned a few things about this sword. It's quite interesting working with curses. Say, you mentioned you were in the business or the market for a magical weapon. Would you care to purchase it?
Tell me what its properties are.
Oh, well,
Oh, it's magically enhanced, do more damage, and it prevents wounds from closing easily, as you should find out here in the near future.
and he laughs. Oh, no, nothing of the sort. I had to regrettably weaken the effect of the magic to remove the curse. It still has magical properties on it. It will still be able to cut through defenses as it was, but no longer quite as effective as it once was. But it will no longer cut open your own body as well.
So in layman's
Shame.
terms, it's a +1 longsword.
In layman's terms, it's the +1 longsword.
No other properties
No
that
other
we know
properties that you know of.
of. Longsword 1d8.
And it's versatile.
Yep. And I think that
1d10
would be
two-handed, all right?
yeah 1d10 versatile. That would be good for Surina. So Lily will probably say, "Well, I sold it to you for 300. What do you want for it back?"
Well, yes, I paid you 300 for it. So how about 400?
Go down to 350 and we'll make it a deal. It'll pay for your time.
And he shakes his head. 400. Take it or leave it, miss.
Now, if Surina were here, we could see whether or not she really wants it. That's the thing, because I wouldn't be using it.
You wouldn't be using it unless you ran into something that resisted unless magical weapon.
That's true.
It's still a short sword, right?
It's a
It's a
long
long
now.
sword.
It's a long
Oh.
sword.
I could use it, but strength is not a that I am quite fond of.
Can Lily try persuasion to get him to drop the price on me?
She may. Is that what you just rolled there?
18, yeah.
Yeah. Well, be glad I rolled a 1, because that was probably the only way he was going to go down. Well, I should really charge you extra for the privilege of watching me work, but 375.
Lily nods. You know, you got to see me work as well, and I have to say, you're not a bad sight, but I think I'm probably a better one. So 375 seems to work.
And he just kind of laughs at this. He finds it rather amusing. So yes, you essentially got the sword reforged into, it loses a bit of its power, but it removed the curse and it changed into a longsword. So
Okay.
there was that.
So I'm assuming we don't know if there's any positive effects to it.
He claims that the only thing that happened is that he removed the curse, lessening the power of the magic as well a little bit.
Mhm.
But beyond that, nothing.
So it's probably a +1 short sword or a long
Longsword.
sword.
Yeah, that's all it is essentially for you.
So I'm gonna put that in my inventory and probably end up giving it to Serena when she comes back.
All right. And let's see. And then the only other thing that was happening was Falana was also going to be spending some time in the investigating the Waygate some more. And again, there doesn't seem to be much more on it. It seems to be lacking a power source. More than just a key, a power source.
She did
And
cast
despite
Witchbolt on it.
Despite your best attempts, actually, what are you attempting? Like, if you wish to try and see what a power source is, what are you attempting?
I would try to, well, Lich Bolt, try to give it a jolt of electricity. But no, I'm not going to try that. What I would try, though, is... give me a moment, I'm going to have to think on it.
While she's thinking on it, Lily
I
did.
gotta look at what myself real fast.
Sorry.
I just have to look over my spellbook.
Okay.
All right, so what are we going to do?
While you think on that, Lily did actually do some crafting for the first week that I didn't roll on. I was wondering if I should do that.
You can.
Okay. Crafting.
This would have been before she had proficiency, so it would have been an 8 because it would have been before I gave it to her.
Mhm.
I'm going to say she'd probably be able to get another 30 gold for what she made the first week.
Okay, because she only worked half a week, anyways.
Yeah. No, it's not going to be super impressive, I don't feel. I'm probably giving it to you way too easily regardless.
Well, she's thinking any amount of money she gets right now is good.
Yeah.
Um,
And like the town is in desperate need of skilled workers because like the 2 bandits that you brought back, you can probably see at this point that they aren't really wearing the cuffs anymore,
Mhm.
and they are just hard at work in the forge alongside the blacksmith.
So, can Lily learn more about these bandits as she's working with them?
She can, and I suppose as she's going on and working with them, she learns that they were originally from Northbridge, but they left after things had one too many upheavals.
Can
Government, like the ruling caste being changed around, etc., etc. Their master blacksmith being rushed out of town, killed, and they just kind of left after that point.
Can she
This
learn
thing needs
more?
to be connected directly to the ley line. That's the downside.
Yeah, what was Lily asking?
Can she learn more about the Assassin's Guild from a civilian's perspective?
They don't know anything about the Assassin's Guild. They kind of treat it with awe and superstition more than anything. They
And
don't know anything.
Anything about the Colosseum?
The Colosseum, they know, is just the area of entertainment for the rich people, and they did not qualify as the rich people.
Lily tells them if uh, if they ever get a chance and they're in Northbridge together, she'll invite them to go to the Coliseum with her.
And they kind of nod,
Pay
seeming a
for
little. They kind of nod, being a little interested in the idea, but they don't really feel like going back to town or going back to Northbridge anytime soon. So, what was Falana going to do?
I'm gonna converse with Shay, see if she's interested in helping me get this thing hooked up to the ley line directly.
And you do converse with Chase, and she kind of reports it's like it already is. In fact, it's connected to all three. I didn't realize it initially, but there are three separate ley lines which go through this point.
If that's not enough power, what's this thing trying to set up a circle for?
I don't think it uses the ley line for power. I don't know what it does.
Well, we could try to give it a jolt, see if that helps revive its power source somewhat.
And she nods. All right, what do you have in mind?
Would they know that electricity from lightning spells would power things?
There's a number of things that could power it, but that's the downside. It could just be magical energy as a whole, which means we just cast those powerful spells on it. It's going to be enough to power it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
You would kind of don't think it's that, though, because, like Shay said, there are three different ley lines going through it. If it was just magical energy,
yeah.
there would have been enough excess energy for it to pick up
Well,
on, especially since it
it's
is
made out of
anchored
metal.
to them.
It is made out of metal, so effectively it would be a lightning rod. Let's see if that helps power it.
All right. So you're casting Witch Bolt?
As level 2 spells.
All right.
She can maintain that for quite a while too.
I think it's a minute concentration.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Once I find a spell for this.
Yeah, waiting for the spell. All right, so the Witch Bolt. It's a good thing that's... I'm going to give you the free hit anyway because you would have taken the time to line it up, etc., etc. So as you lock on with the Lich Bolt, you strike into the surface of the Waygate device, and you just watch electricity course around it, just kind of arcing to the various other outer parts of the circle, and there are various runes in the circle which seem to light up for a split second before they go faint again.
We need a lightning bolt. That's going to be the next best bet.
Do you want
And-
Lily to stand out there with a greatsword pointing up in the middle of a thunderstorm?
I'm also going to assume this will be sometime around the end of the week, and as luck would have it, a storm is coming.
Sorry.
Let's get as much metal as we can. We could try to rig up a
Makeshift
stronger lightning
lightning
rod.
Can
Yeah.
Lily smith something for them?
Yes, you can.
It really wouldn't take long. All you need is just a giant, rod of metal.
Yeah, we just need a giant rod of a conductive metal. Not just any metal.
True.
Copper, preferably.
Gold.
I'd rather have copper. It's cheaper.
So I'm assuming you've all pretty much have been gathered up at the park as well as you're going over and explaining all this?
Yes.
All right. Well, at this point, it's probably, I'm going to say it's probably near the start of the day at this point. It's at the end of the second week when you're all going over and explaining all this, what you need to do, etc. And by this point, the storm has already approached. It's beginning to get here. It got here rather quickly, to be honest. You weren't expecting it for another probably day or two.
What are you saying? I have Druidcraft. I can predict the weather with that thing. Come on.
Yes, and using Druidcraft, you were not expecting it to arrive for another day or two.
Okay.
So,
Well, I could use Druidcraft to predict how bad this storm is now that it's closer.
yeah, and it seems like this storm is going to be fairly bad. It's going to be windy. It's going to be rainy. It's going to be cold. So that's to be expected considering how far north you are. And as the group of you are discussing this within range of the Waygate, at the front of the storm, a lightning bolt strikes out and right into the center of it. It
Lily's
seems to arc unnaturally far to reach this point.
going to say that she thinks that the device is drawing the storm to it.
And Lily mentioned this, and the implication kind of sinks in as the group thinks about it, and Chase isn't there at this point. It's just the four of you. I'm assuming you brought Surina with you. So it's just going to be the four of
And
you.
Mara.
And
Mara's
I
carrying her
expect
stuff.
Mara will be further back as she's running around gathering things, etc., etc.
Okay.
But it strikes, so the first bolt strikes into it, and as it strikes it, you see some of the runes start to light up a bit, and probably 10 seconds pass. And then 3 more lightning bolts hit it in quick succession. And at this point, everybody roll a dex save.
Oh boy.
Oh, yay. Serena is not there, you said?
Serena is there.
Okay, I'll roll for her.
Mara is.
Yeah, Mara is kind of lingering back. Alright, so...
Like I said, Lily's just standing there with a greatsword in the air.
And as the lightning bolts come striking down, Lily starts to lose her balance, a gust of wind going towards the center of the waygate as she starts getting pulled towards it. Elana also starts to lose her balance. Surina and Falana both manage to keep it for the moment, but the gust of wind is getting stronger as another lightning bolt strikes it. And at this point, the various runes on it are lighting up very brightly.
Has any, like, portal shown up?
It looks like there is a swirl of magical energy somewhere in the center directly above the cube, but seeing what's inside of it is nearly impossible. It seems like a rainbow that's just kind of being melded and terrible tie-dye everywhere.
Oh, fun.
Well, this may or may not be exactly what I've been looking for.
Lily is going to jump towards the portal.
All right, then. The rest of you going to let her do this by herself?
I was about to
No, I'm
say,
going.
Alana might just join in on that because she's
Hey,
curious.
Chase, join in.
Yeah. So everyone's joining in?
Serena's
Yeah.
going to stand back for a little bit because that's probably not something she would do in character.
I think Surina would probably go in being concerned, not wanting to leave them all behind.
Okay. If you
Yeah,
say
wanting to
so.
make sure they're okay. And the group of the four of you, for whatever reason or another, you decide to jump into this swirling mass of arcane energy in the center of this circle. And everything kind of it gets really trippy. It gets really, really trippy for a while.
This reminds Lily of her high school years.
Everybody roll a constitution save.
One.
I'm out.
Sorry, Serena.
Oh, wait, I'm up. Maybe. Oh, I did better than... What?
Probably down.
Alright. So, as this all ends, you find yourselves swirling on the ground. Like, everything is spinning. You find yourself a little dazed. Elana, you kind of fall to the ground, and you can feel yourself like whatever you had for lunch. It was probably some sort of meat and stew, and you can feel that just trying to come up as you throw it on the ground. And Surina is doing a lot worse. She looks like she's basically passed out as she lands on the ground. And a lot of you, as you recover and like the world stops spinning, you get a chance to look around, and it seems like you're in a little alcove.
Lily's going to immediately try to wake Serena up.
I expect Serena will be able to wake up a little
Okay.
pretty quickly after Lily helps her up. And behind you, where you came out of, there is, it looks to be the same outline on the ground for the teleportation circle. There is no device in the center where the waygate was. And you're in kind of a little alcove hidden away. The sun is high above the sky. It was about noon when this all happened. So the sun is still high above the sky, but you notice several things. First of all, it is very warm out. Like, where you were in Northbridge, you were rather far north. It felt like autumn, like winter, or not winter. It felt like autumn. So it was getting pretty chilly out, and especially with the storm, it was rather cold. But right now it feels almost like it's summer. It's rather warm out, and as you look out past the alcove, you see that there's a lot of green grass, and it seems to be rather flat and plains for the most part. There's a forest off in the distance, and it's just a lot different than where you were.
Lily's going to look around, and seeing that there's no portal nearby, she's actually going to get rather angry because she's now separated from her mission.
All right, take a look at the. There's a circle though. We could take a look at that and try to figure out what to do from there.
Yeah.
And the circle, it seems almost like it is half powered, the glow, but it's not responding to what you're doing right now. I'm assuming you're going to try to hit it with another witch bolt. Nothing changes when that happens.
No, we don't have a waygate.
Yeah,
like
there's
there's
no way
nothing-
gate, so we can't charge it.
Yeah, there's nothing there to activate it.
Can
Yeah.
Lily, with her knowledge of history and the surrounding areas of Haven, can she try to figure out where we are?
She may.
What would this be, survival? Or history?
I'm going to say this will be history.
Oh, sweet. I'm actually better with that.
History. Good. So as Lily goes around and she looks at the area around her, first of all, she knows that she's obviously not in the western fringes up north. She also knows that she's nowhere near Haven. In fact, going to her research and looking further across the river that flows through and the forest in the distance, she almost thinks she's near the Elvish forests in the south. Be the southwest.
Okay.
And while I'm thinking about it, I shouldn't really do this for you guys or metagame, but did you guys want to identify those things that you found in the dungeon at some point?
Yeah,
Probably.
whatever. Yeah, free chance I would have with identify.
Yeah, so I'm figuring you guys would have done that at some point during the 2 weeks. So you want me to go over what they are?
Yeah, specifically the bag of holding.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's this bag can hold so much more inside than its size implies.
Yes, it's a bag of holding. We know. No,
Yeah, that's pretty much all you get from it.
Okay.
And you also had one other item. You found that strange gemstone. Did you want to identify that as well?
Yep. Anything that we picked up there would have had a detect magic and identify.
And
All right, so
all of the jewels that Lily picked up, she'd just give them to Falana to identify as well.
yeah, the jewels themselves, they have nothing special about them. They're just gemstones. You could probably sell them. I expect you're keeping them out and around. Let's see. The one special gemstone that you found, the one that was actually in the jewelry case, that one is indeed magical. And as Falana identifies it, she would have found that the stone is a reservoir for magic, and it requires an attunement.
Which do you have attuned to it?
Not on identify.
After identifying it, would she attune to it?
Because you had like 2 weeks.
Hold on to it for now. I would have held on to it, but you can
Yeah,
figure out.
it's well. As you would have found out one other thing for it. It's a reservoir for magic, and it currently holds a communication spell.
Then yes, she would have attuned to it.
All right, so attuning to it, she would have been able to find out more directly that it is a Ionstone of Reserve. So she's going to actually have to have it float around her head to make use of it. And investigating it more, she finds that while it can hold up to 3 levels worth of a spell, it currently holds Sending,
Which is what level spell?
a 3rd level spell. So it's completely filled up with this spell.
Okay, that's in the party loot now.
Well, if Falana attuned to it, then it's currently hers. It wouldn't be in the
Yeah.
party.
Yeah, she would have it.
So I'm removing it from said party loot. I'm assuming that everything is now in the bag of holding in the party loot.
Yeah, I'm assuming you're just going to put everything in the bag of holding. All right. So, yeah. So now you're in this area. Now that I've taken care of this retroactively, you're in this area. You don't know exactly where you are. Lily thinks that you might be somewhere near the Elvish forests, from the best she can tell, but she's not sure.
Can Falana get any more information? Lily's going to tell him that she thinks she's there near the Elvish Forest, and is going to ask Falana to see if she knows any more.
Could Alana do a check as well?
History check.
Elana could, yeah, well, yes. Yeah, history checks. All right, so Falana, you basically get the same information Lily has. You believe you're near the Elvish forests, though you're probably directly south of Ashenport versus anywhere else. Like, you've probably gone a good ways, but you can't tell how far, and with how different the environment is, it's quite different. And Elana would probably have about the same information. I expect as you're out and looking around, you'll see that the one river that flows south, there appears to be some sort of town further south along it, and it seems to open up into either a giant lake or an ocean or something to that effect.
Hmm.
Let's
Lily's
head to town. We can get maps and determine where exactly we traveled from there.
Lily's gonna say that's a good
Yeah.
idea.
All right, so you're going to the town?
Mhm.
Let me make sure the town is set up right. Yes, it is.
And make
So-
sure I count distance from where we landed. That way we can at least keep note of it.
Alto,
Welcome
heal
to
up
the town.
Alana. Heal up Alana.
Oh, right. Sorry, I have
Yeah,
changed
you're
my
going to be at
HP.
full health now.
Also, just to make mention, Alana's also gonna bring out something to like cover her head in, just in case.
All right, yeah, that's not a bad thing.
And Lily seeing Alana do that is not really sure why she's doing that, but she's also going to put on her hood.
Yep, all right. In the town, you
Alana's
see,
gonna do the same just to be on the safe side, even though they might be elves.
I'm going
No.
to expect Surina would do the same as well then.
If she even
Because
has a
that's
hood.
this party be all the more
Crap.
suspicious. All right, so I should have you move to the map for Gatesill.
Yes.
All right. So as you travel along the road, along the river, you come across closer to the town itself, and you see that this is a rather odd-looking town. It is built right next to a river delta, and it's all cliff sides, and there are several islands in the middle of the delta going across, and I color-coded this myself, so just to explain what it is, because there were no numbers. So, yeah. And the town itself, like I said, there's various areas, the high plateaus, and there's bridges going between each one in various towns. And as you get close to the cliff, you can see that there are some houses and various places built into the cliffside. And this is a rather unique setup. And more importantly, as you come south, you can see that there are fireworks coming up from an area. Probably, it's still on this side of the shore, but it's further down past the trees. You can't see really what's down there from your position. So I assume you're going to be going in?
Yeah.
I remember
we need to
seeing
find
this
a
map.
tavern or something.
Huh?
Or general
You
store.
probably have seen this map.
This
because
is an awesome map. I kind of wanted to use it, but I couldn't figure out a good way how.
Yeah, this was in the Dungeon Master Guide.
Oh, that's
I like
why.
this map. Yeah, it's in the back of the Dungeon Master Guide. I like this map.
This is a cool map. All right.
All right, so as you enter into the town itself, you're going to first enter into this maroon district, and you see a bunch of people running around, and they seem to be all going south. And
Lily's going to stop one and ask what's going on.
when you stop, it's going to be an elvish woman. She kind of looks at the party and just seems kind of confused for a moment, but she just kind of starts speaking up. Oh, you must be travelers. That's a great festival. We're all heading to the carnival to have some fun.
Lily's going to say, we've been traveling for a long time, and we're not 100% sure where we are. Can you tell us where we are?
Oh, you don't know? Hi, welcome to Gatesill, the crown jewel here by the Fell Lake. Is that what it's called? Fay Lake. It's probably Fay Lake.
Does Lily
Sure.
actually know what that is?
Lily would recognize that name off the top of her head, so she has a pretty good idea where she is. Because there's one massive river that goes through this region and it meets to the Fay Lake. And this is at the southern edge of the... I can actually bring you all back to the world map to show you where the party ended up.
That'd be cool briefly for...
Yeah, so let me just bring you all back here for a moment so you can see where you ended up. So,
the southern tip of that.
yeah, you've gone a long ways.
Oh, so we're on the northern tip of Fay Lake. Fay
Yeah,
Lake.
the northern tip of the Fay Lake is what I meant to say.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right still. So you've gone a long ways.
Does
Because the FedEx is about where Ashton...
We need to send a carrier message to Ashtonport because that's actually interesting. And if we can
Or
find a way back,
perhaps-
that's a good trade.
we
Or
have sending?
perhaps ascending. It's almost like I planned this.
Um,
Alright, let's move
so,
everyone back now that you've seen this.
so Lily knows where Fay Lake is. She's going to be somewhat surprised. Does she know whether this area is friendly or hostile to Haven?
They're not hostile. Like, they haven't really had many dealings with it. Like, they're not hostile. The ambassadors they've seen have been kind enough, especially since this is the elf-centric area and there's been enough elves in Haven that they kind of get along.
Plus, her mother's probably from somewhere along the river.
Probably from somewhere, if not along the river, inside the forest itself. The greater elven forest. All right. So, with that information, what are you going to do?
I'm going to make contact with the people in Ashen Fort. Go ahead and enjoy the festival for now.
All right.
Are these mostly high elves or wood elves?
The areas in here, it's going to be a mix. You're going to find more high elves in here than wood elves because, as I found out, there are supposed to be two types of high elves. One is the racist, haughty jerks,
Which is
and the
what
other is
Falana
like
is.
they're more friendly to humans and other races. And then wood elves are just isolationist assholes. So the wood elves are all going to be in the forest.
Okay.